All right, hey, how's it going? Just gonna do a quick video here talking about, got a board game set up I'm gonna start playing. The US Civil War by GMT Games by Mark Simonich. Came out in like 2015 or something like that. I played it in short little spurts here or there, both solo and with a friend. And I finally have some space in my old painting room. It's kind of cleared out. It's got a door on it, so that way I can keep kids and cats away, so that way I can leave this set up and play it long term. So my goal, I'm going to be playing this solo and hopefully videotape my progress along the way. I know some of you folks out there enjoy hex and counter type war games, so and I've always enjoyed them myself. I've just never had them on my YouTube channel, so I figured it'd be kind of fun to have everybody along to do it. So, the current printing of the game has updates and stuff that were made in 2021, I think. So the way I've got it set up, I'm going to be doing the full campaign starting with the 1861 scenario. And it's using the most recent setup update, which is actually different from what I have cards for. The cards and rules that I have are 2017 printing. So as I play through, might be some changes. I've also contemplating just saying screw it and updating to the full new version and getting rid of this one to somebody else who might want it. But broad overview of the game. Continental United States, basically from Illinois, a line from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, further south, and then the bulk of the map covers the southern states that were involved in the Civil War. 1861 scenario, things are fairly spread out. And how I'm going to do this is after this intro video, then I will be making videos for each side's turn. Should work out pretty good playing solo. I've dabbled with it before, as I said. The one kind of catch that could be a kind of gotcha with solo play is this game has these special action cards. And they're supposed to be hidden from the opponent, and it being solo might make that a little difficult, but not insurmountable. So my goal, what I'm going to do is at the start of each side's turn, I'm basically gonna shuffle the whole deck for the cards and then draw the number of cards that they're supposed to have. I'll be keeping a running total of how many cards each side has, and but what that'll do is that'll prevent me from knowing what cards the other side has while I'm playing. So for example, if I'm playing on the Union turn, I won't know what cards the Confederate side has in their hand. Now granted, as the phasing turn player, for the Unions, I won't know what's in the Union hand until that turn starts. And because I'm going to reshuffle the hand and the deck every time, you can't plan ahead. So basically each turn you start, there's going to be a little bit of a surprise. So it eliminates one problem. It kind of creates another problem, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And we'll just call it spicy. So the spicy solo version of the US Civil War. I'm going to pretty much play it by the rules as best as I'm able to. I'm going to put include the optional rules, including like salt hexes that do extra things. There's like hex here. There's a couple hexes throughout there that they kind of give extra bonuses for various reasons. So I'll include that rule. I'm not going to include the advanced naval rules at this time. I would like to include them at some point. I would like to get through a complete full playthrough of the game before I do include that though. All right, taking a quick look at the turn track and also the leader replacement track. And this might have been a change. I think if I recall in the recent printings, the 2021 printings, there were adjustments to things. I have to look at that stuff via PDF. I don't actually have a hard copy of it, so I'm just kind of guessing. But the way the old printing of the track is Lion, who is on the board at the start of the game. Turn 2, he gets replaced. Well, he gets replaced because historically at the Battle of Wilson's Creek he was killed. Well, Wilson's Creek, according to the turn track, doesn't happen until turn 2. And the way the leader replacement phases occur in this game is the leader replacement phase, or the leader management phase, I guess is what it's called, happens at the start of a specific turn. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to delay Lion's replacement until the start of turn 3, so that way he'll at least be available in turn 2 when the Battle of Wilson's Creek happened historically. I'm sure there's probably a couple of other leaders that change might apply to. That's the only one that's sticking out to me right now, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with that, especially considering the way the new setup of the 61 setup happens, and how the pieces are all set up. Things are a little bit more spread apart and a little bit more disjointed. Taking a quick look at the Missouri setup where Lion is relevant as a Union general, you have Price set up down here in the corner. Lion is actually up here in Glasgow, Missouri, and things are a little bit more spread out. And so I think by allowing Lion to be present during turn 2, that allows him to be more useful in his role, and then it gives everything, it gives more time for that Battle of Wilson's Creek to develop, which happened down here in Springfield. But it allows Lion to do his consolidations, and because things are more spread out, he's got more ability to be useful, because it is the way the dice rolls may work and how the activation may work. You may only get one activation for Lion, and then because there's only 3 activations during the first year, it may not lead to the potential of him being available or effectively being used in the first turn. So I think by allowing him to be replaced at the beginning of turn 3 instead of the beginning of the turn 2, he can still be present for a potential Battle of Wilson's Creek. All right, talking about broad strategy, starting with the Union, what my intent playing as the Union is going to be, especially initially within the first year, and especially in the first turn. Focus is going to be in Missouri and also in West Virginia. Lion is going to try to do his best to consolidate what forces he has and force Confederate influence out of Missouri. How I'm exactly going to do that, I'm not sure. Price is down here, and obviously Price is going to try to consolidate, and Price needs to move into Missouri, obviously. But Lion, with the way these control markers are, that allows Confederate supply basically through, into the heart of the state. So Lion needs to kind of counteract that and defeat Price and take control of the Missouri. Ideally somewhere, kind of historically how it was, focused around the Springfield area. Fremont is kind of a doddering commander, but we could use him to reinforce Lion's flank coming down to Ironton and kind of guarding this area down here. And then the big focus of the Union out east is control of West Virginia. You have McClellan available for turn 1, and he's a capable commander during turn 1. So we need to use him to capture Charleston before the end of turn 1. So he's got 3 action phases to make that happen. If the Union does not capture Charleston and gain West Virginia into the Union influence, it becomes a huge headache for them later on. So that's McClellan's goal, and that needs to be done on turn 1, because at the start of turn 2, McClellan gets promoted to Command of the Army of the Potomac and will transfer over to Washington. So that's the goal there. As far as the eastern flank, primary goal is just to basically concentrate the force and not press if they don't have to. So that way that gives McClellan the action points available to move against Charleston. Now, granted, in this game, if you have a dice differential of 4 or 5, that means the Union has to make an attack into Virginia. Attacks in West Virginia don't count to satisfy that rule. So in that case, I'll probably look at it and see where we are and probably make some form of historical, Battle of Bull Run type of attack just to satisfy that requirement. Now, in line with that, the Confederates have a special rule for Johnston and Beauregard to where on the first turn, if the attack into Bull Run is made, that the Confederates can make a 2-hex reinforcement check, whereas normally you can only reinforce 1 hex away. There's a special rule that allows the Confederates to do that. That's only available for turn 1. I'm going to allow that, assuming things haven't, changed materially up here, as long as Johnson and Beauregard are in their positions. If an attack happens and it doesn't happen to happen in turn 2, I'm going to allow them to make use of that rule if something happens at a later turn. So I'm not going to just limit it to turn 1, although realistically, things will probably change well before then anyways. So I think those are kind of the broad ideas of Confederates. So the Confederates idea plan is they're really scattered. They are outnumbered initially, and during the first couple of turns, for the first couple of months, when you start talking reinforcement rise, the reinforcements are relatively comparable, equal to what the Union gets. Although they do have some rules that scatter them out, so it does make it more difficult for the Confederates to concentrate. But primarily, the Confederates have to defend West Virginia and basically be defensive-minded in Virginia. They don't have even though numbers are relatively comparable, they don't have the long-term ability to be offensive. So if they are going to be offensive, they have to be smart in how they do it, concentrate as much as they can. I do not intend to push northward with the Confederates. Basically, be defensive in the battle. Battles, the way the battle charts work, tend to favor ties. Basically, go to the defender to a degree. So it's the Union has the impetus and the need to be aggressive, even though they can't necessarily be aggressive at the start. So the intent is for the Confederates to hold here. Kentucky neutrality, as the Confederates I intend to honor. So that way the Confederates can focus and concentrate in Memphis and then move a force into the Trans-Mississippi Theater to threaten Missouri. I've had a couple games, it seems like, where if the Union is able to, at least for 61, they tend to either send their focus of the troops over to the east, so that leaves the Confederates kind of free to maneuver in the west. So by maneuvering in the west and then threatening Missouri, it hopefully can pull the Big Eye of Sauron over to Missouri and give relief for the Confederates over in Eastern Theater. So that is the initial plan so far, how I plan on playing it out. So with that, we will make the first die roll, set the dice differential, and then we'll bring this video to a close, and then when I get time, I'll come back and play turn one. So here we go. I don't know if you'll necessarily be able to see the dice, but all right. Differential of 2, and the Confederates have initiative. So differential of 2, and Confederates have initiative on turn, action cycle 1 of turn 1. All right. Video's blabbed on long enough, yeah. So 20 minutes or so, that's way more time than it needs to be. But hopefully it gives you an idea of what I plan on doing. And I'll be back down the road with turn 1, action phase 1, Confederate initiative.